A 7-year-old boy in a $5,000 coat stands in a filthy alley, holding out a Ziploc bag of crumpled bills to a homeless woman. Is this enough, just for one hug? $300, 3 months of skipped lunches, the price Min-jun thinks love costs. Min-jun, 7 years old, stands alone in the center of the filth. He looks entirely out of place, but he is trembling violently, not from the cold, but from fear. In front of him, huddled beneath a blue plastic tarp and a mountain of damp cardboard, sits Maya. She looks up, startled, blowing warm air into her frozen, cracked hands. She sees the rich boy standing there and immediately tenses, expecting him to throw stones or call the police. "You're lost, kid. Go back to the main street. It's not safe back here." Min-jun doesn't move. He takes a shaky step forward, the snow crunching under his expensive boots. He extends his hand. He is holding a dirty, quart-sized Ziploc bag. It isn't a sandwich. Inside the clear plastic is a chaotic, desperate mix of crumpled $5 bills, quarters, and dimes. "Take it." "What?" "It's $300. I didn't eat lunch for 3 months to save it." Maya stares at the bag, then back at the boy's tear-filled eyes. "Why are you giving me this? I don't want your money." "The other kids at school. They say their mommies hug them for free. They say it doesn't cost anything. But I don't have a mommy, so I know I have to pay." Min-jun pushes the bag closer, his small arm shaking. "Is this enough? Just for one hug? I promise I won't get your coat dirty, please." Maya feels her heart stop. She looks at the crumpled bills, the hunger and loneliness condensed into plastic. She ignores the money completely. She reaches out with her grime-stained hands and pulls the pristine, wealthy boy into her chest. Min-jun gasps, dropping the bag. He buries his face in her dirty shoulder and begins to sob, a sound of pure, released agony. The tender moment is shattered by the roar of engines. 3 massive black SUVs tear into the narrow alley, blocking both exits. The headlights blind them. Doors fly open. 6 men in dark suits swarm the snow, hands hovering over holsters. Then, the back door of the lead car opens. Dhyunkim steps out, the Dragon of Soul. He wears a cashmere coat that costs more than Maya's life. A scar cuts through his left eyebrow. He doesn't look worried. He looks lethal. He raises a matte black pistol, aiming it with terrifying precision, not at the woman, but at the empty space right between their heads. "Get your hands off my property." Min-jun clings to Maya's dirty coat, burying his face in her neck. "Don't hurt her, Daddy, please." Dhyun does lower the gun. He steps forward, the snow crunching under his Italian leather shoes, and yanks Min-jun away by the collar of his coat. The force spins the boy around, sending him sprawling into the snow near the bodyguards. "Put him in the car, now." "No, let me go. She was hugging me." As the guards drag the kicking, screaming boy toward the SUV, Dhyun turns his cold, dead eyes on Maya. He holsters the gun but reaches into his inner pocket. He pulls out a thick, folded stack of bills, crisp, clean hundreds. "You target a child. You think I don't know how you parasites work." He doesn't hand her the money. He throws it. The stack hits Maya in the chest and scatters into the dirty slush at her feet. $5,000. Take it and vanish. If I see you near my son again, I won't use cash next time." Maya doesn't look at the money. She doesn't scramble for it. Slowly, she stands up. She is taller than she looked while huddled on the ground. She possesses a strange, quiet dignity that clashes with her rags. She bends down, but not for the thousands of dollars. She picks up the Ziploc bag of crumpled lunch money Min-jun dropped. She steps toward the Dragon of Soul. The bodyguards tense, hands on weapons, but Dhyun signals them to wait. Maya shoves the Ziploc bag against Dhyun's chest. "He didn't want to buy drugs, Mr. Kim. He didn't want to be kidnapped." Dhyun looks down at the bag of crumpled $5 bills, confused. He wanted a hug. He saved his lunch money for months just to buy 5 seconds of affection. She meets his terrifying gaze without blinking. "If you were doing your job as a father, he wouldn't be trying to hire me." Hyun flinches. It's microscopic, but it's there. For the first time in years, someone has struck him, and they didn't use a fist. What did you say to me? Mom. Hyun stares at her for 1 second longer, unsettled, furious, then spins on his heel. He storms to the SUV, the heavy door slamming shut like a vault. The convoy screeches away, leaving silence in its wake. Maya is alone again. The $5,000, enough to get her off the streets for months, lies scattered around her boots. She looks at the money. Then she looks at the sewer grate a few feet away. With a look of pure disgust, she uses her boot to scrape the crisp $100 bills into a pile and kicks them straight down into the darkness of the sewer. I don't touch blood money. 3 days later. The Kim penthouse is a palace of glass and black marble floating high above Seoul. It is breathtaking, expensive, and completely devoid of life. Min-jun sits at the dining table, which is long enough to seat 20 people. He is alone. A 5-star chef places a plate of Wagyu beef and truffle mashed potatoes in front of him. Min-jun doesn't blink. He doesn't lift his fork. He just stares out the floor-to-ceiling window at the city lights below, his face pale and gaunt. Chef says you haven't touched the beef. It's A5, Min-jun your favorite. Hyun snaps his fingers. 2 BODYGUARDS march in, carrying massive boxes. I know you're upset about the incident, so I fixed it. Look. The guards rip open the boxes. The latest gaming console, a limited edition robot, a purebred golden retriever puppy that yips happily. Take it, it's all yours, just eat something. Min-jun slowly turns his head. He looks at the puppy, then at his father. His eyes are hollow. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out the only thing he cares about, the empty Ziploc bag. He clutches it to his chest and turns back to the window. Silence. Hyun sits in the dark, a glass of amber whiskey in his hand. He stares at a framed photograph on his desk. A beautiful woman laughing, holding a baby Min-jun. I'm trying, Jae-yoon. I gave him everything. He touches the glass. 2 years ago, a bullet meant for him shattered the window of their car. She took it in the chest. Since that day, Hyun killed the man he used to be. He became the dragon to ensure nothing could ever touch his son again. I became a monster to keep him safe. Why can't he see that? The intercom on his desk screams, shattering the silence. It's the head housekeeper. Her voice is shrill with panic. Master Kim, come quickly, it's Min-jun, he won't wake up. Hyun sprints down the hallway, bursting through the door. Min-jun is collapsed on the expensive Persian rug. His skin is translucent, his breathing shallow. He has fainted from hunger. Get the doctor, now. Hyun falls to his knees, scooping his son up. As he lifts the boy's limp hand, a piece of paper flutters out of Min-jun's grip. Hyun freezes. It's a drawing, crude, done in crayon. It shows a woman in a jagged coat standing in the snow. Above her head, drawn in bright yellow wax, is a massive, glowing halo. Underneath, in shaky letters, Min-jun has written one word. Savior. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Min-jun is visible through a glass window, hooked up to an IV drip, sleeping fitfully. Hyun stands outside the room, his reflection in the glass looking like a ghost. He is still holding the crumpled crayon drawing of Maya. Jae-woo, his sharp-suited lieutenant, approaches cautiously. The doctor says he's stabilized, but he calls for her in his sleep. Hyun turns, his eyes burning with a terrifying intensity. Find the woman, tear this city apart. I don't care what sewer she's hiding in. Bring her to me. Rain lashes against the glass. Hyun is packing. Jae-woo enters holding a thin manila folder. He looks pale. Well, does she have a record? Drugs, theft? Sir, you need to see this. She isn't a criminal. Jae-woo opens the file on the desk. A photo stares up, not the dirty woman from the alley, but a vibrant, smiling woman in blue medical scrubs. Maya Song, age 28, former head nurse of pediatric trauma at St. Mary's Hospital. She graduated top of her class. Hyun stares at the photo. The woman who slept under a tarp was a healer. A pediatric nurse. Then why is she living like a rat in an alley? Jai-woo swallows hard. He taps a police report attached to the back of the file. 2 years ago, she suffered a complete psychotic break. She lost her job, her apartment, everything. It happened after the incident at the Gangnam crossing. Di-hyun freezes. The whiskey glass in his hand trembles. The Gangnam crossing. That was the night we took out the Viper's lieutenants. Yes, sir, our men opened fire on a convoy. There was crossfire. A civilian car was caught in the middle. The driver was killed instantly. So was the unborn child. Di-hyun feels the blood drain from his face. The driver was Maya's fiancé. She was in the passenger seat. She survived the bullet, but she lost the baby. Silence suffocates the room. Di-hyun looks down at his hands. They look clean, but he can feel the weight of the blood. I did this. He looks back at the photo of the smiling nurse. I didn't just scare her in that alley. I put her there. My war destroyed her life. And now, she's the only one who can save my son. Di-hyun closes the file. The monster has realized he created his own ghost. The tent city, under the Han River Bridge, is a graveyard of the living. Smoke from burning trash barrels chokes the air. A sleek black Mercedes idles at the edge of the mud. Jae-woo opens the back door, but Di-hyun holds up a hand. Stay here. If I bring guards, she'll run. Sir, it's suicide. The Vipers have eyes down here. Di-hyun ignores him. He steps out, his $5,000 Italian leather shoes sinking immediately into the freezing sludge. He buttons his cashmere coat, walking into the darkness alone. He passes hollow-eyed men warming their hands over fires. They stare at the intruder, a wolf walking among sheep. They smell the money on him, but they also smell the violence. They shrink back. Di-hyun spots her near a concrete pillar. Maya is sitting on a crate. She holds a dented tin can, scraping the last dregs of watery soup. She doesn't eat it. She tilts the can down for a shivering, mange-ridden stray dog. Eat up. It's not much, but it's warm. Di-hyun watches from the shadows, a lump forming in his throat. Even with nothing, she gives. Suddenly, a twitchy junkie lunges from the dark, grabbing the edge of the blue tarp behind Maya. Give it here. I'm freezing. Maya doesn't cower. She explodes into motion. She grabs the junkie's wrist, twisting it with practiced, brutal efficiency. She shoves him back, placing herself between him and the tarp. Under the tarp, a terrified runaway teen peeks out. Touch him again and I'll break your fingers. Go. The junkie scrambles away, terrified by her ferocity. Di-hyun stares. She isn't weak. She is a predator, but only when protecting the weak. Just like him. But where he rules through fear, she rules through love. Di-hyun steps into the firelight. Maya. The camp goes deathly silent. Every homeless person freezes. They know that face, the dragon. Maya turns, her fists still clenched. She sees the man who ruined her life standing in the mud. Di-hyun does the unthinkable. He doesn't draw a weapon. He doesn't offer money. Slowly, ruinously, the dragon of soul drops to his knees in the filth. He lowers his head before the woman he destroyed. My son is dying, and I am begging you, I need you. Maya stares down at the most powerful man in Seoul, kneeling in the sewage. The wind howls through the concrete pillars. Get up, you're ruining your suit. Di-hyun slowly rises. The mud stains the knees of his cashmere trousers. He regains his composure, the mask of the businessman sliding back into place. $10,000 a month, private suite, a warm bed. You'll be his dedicated caretaker. You don't have to live like this. Maya laughs, a sharp, bitter sound that echoes off the bridge. You think you can buy me, like you buy your politicians. I know who you are, Mr. Kim. I'd rather freeze to death in this mud than live one night under the roof of a murderer. She turns her back on him, walking toward her tent. And your license? Maya freezes. Her hand hovers over the tent flap. I know you're scraping together coins for an appeal to the medical board. I know they rejected you 3 times. He steps closer, his voice lowering to a seductive, dangerous whisper. I own the board, you save my son, and I give you your life back. A clean record, your license. You'll be Nurse Song again. Maya turns slowly. The offer cuts through her defenses. It's her soul he's offering back to her. She looks at the teen hiding behind the crate, then back at the dragon. One rule. Name it. Maya. Inside that house, you aren't the boss. You aren't the dragon. You are a father. If I see a gun near that boy, if you bring your war into his room even once, I leave. And I won't come back. Hyun stares at her. No one dictates terms to him, but he nods. Deal. The heavy door of the Mercedes is held open by a stunned Jaiwoo. Maya steps inside. The interior is a different world, silence, climate control, soft ambient light, but the smell hits her instantly. It smells of expensive leather and gun oil. She looks back through the tinted window at her ragged tent, shrinking into the distance. She isn't just taking a job, she is entering the belly of the beast. The room is dark, lit only by the rhythmic pulse of medical monitors. Minjun lies in the center of a massive bed, looking small and fragile, an IV drip taped to his hand. Maya pushes the door open. She has showered and changed into simple gray sweats, but her eyes are fierce. She sits on the edge of the bed. Hey there, lunch money. Minjun's eyes flutter open. He blinks, trying to focus. When he sees her, the grayness leaves his face. His lips curve into a weak, disbelief-filled smile. You came back. I told you, I needed the hug. She leans down, wrapping her arms around him, careful of the wires. Minjun lets out a long breath, finally safe. Over the next week, the mausoleum transforms. Maya throws open the heavy black velvet curtains. Sunlight floods the cold marble floors, blinding the confused staff. The French chef watches in horror as Maya pushes aside a plate of foie gras. She fires up the stove and makes a greasy, golden-grilled cheese sandwich and instant ramen. Minjun devours it, sauce staining his face, laughing. Hyun sits alone in the dark, watching the security feed on his monitor. He sees Minjun laughing. He sees Maya brushing his son's hair. Hyun touches the screen, his expression a painful mix of relief and jealousy. He is the father, but he is on the outside looking in. The house is silent. Hyun walks down the hallway, drawn by a sound he hasn't heard in 3 years. Music. In the living room, Maya sits at the dusty grand piano. She plays a slow, melancholic Korean ballad. Her fingers move with a grace that betrays her past life. Hyun stops in the doorway. He should be angry. No one touches that piano, but he just listens. My wife used to play that song. Maya stops. She doesn't look at him. She keeps her eyes on the keys. A house this big shouldn't be this quiet, Mr. Kim. Grief is loud, but healing needs music. Hyun walks closer. The barrier between boss and employee thins. For a second, they are just two people who have lost everything, standing in the wreckage. Thank you for saving him. Maya turns on the bench to face him, a soft smile forming. He saved me, T. She freezes. A tiny, bright red laser dot appears silently on the center of her chest. Hyun's eyes widen as they lock onto the red laser dot, dancing on Maya's chest. Down. He lunges, tackling Maya off the piano bench. A split second later, the bullet obliterates the window, tearing through the piano where Maya's head was moments ago. The sound is deafening. Shards of safety glass rain down like diamonds. Dad, Maya. Minjun runs out of his room, terrified. Maya scrambles on her hands and knees through the glass, grabbing the boy and dragging him behind a thick marble pillar. The Vipers, they found a soft target. Bullets chew up the furniture. Hyun checks his waist. He's unarmed. I have to get to the armory. Stay here. Do not make a sound. He sprints into the open fire, drawing the gunfire away from them. Silence. Then the heavy front doors are kicked open. A Viper assassin steps in, holding a suppressed submachine gun. He scans the room. He spots a small slipper poking out from behind the pillar. He walks over, grinning, and reaches behind the pillar to grab Min-jun by the hair. No. Maya doesn't scream. She doesn't beg. She moves with surgical precision. As the assassin leans down, Maya lunges. She isn't holding a weapon. She's holding a heavy, silver fountain pen she snatched from the side table. She doesn't stab wildly. She aims for a specific point on the neck, just below the jawline. Carotid. She drives the pen deep. The assassin eyes go wide. He reaches for his neck, gurgling, and drops the gun. He collapses, convulsing, as his blood pressure drops to 0 in seconds. Maya pulls Min-jun into her chest, shielding his eyes. Don't look, baby, don't look. Di-hyun bursts back into the room, dual pistols raised, ready to slaughter anyone touching his family. He freezes. He sees the assassin dead on the floor. He sees the pen protruding from the neck. He looks at Maya, shaking, covered in glass but alive. He lowers his guns. He looks at her not as a servant or a nuisance, but with absolute, terrified respect. You. Di-hyun sits on the edge of the marble tub, his shirt stripped off. A jagged shard of window glass has sliced deep into his shoulder. Blood streams down his back, soaking the waistband of his trousers. Maya stands at the sink, scrubbing her hands. The trembling woman from the alley is gone. This is Nurse Song. She snaps on a pair of latex gloves from the emergency kit and turns to him, needle and suture thread in hand. This needs a surgeon. You've nicked a vessel. No hospitals. Police ask questions, just sew it up. Maya glares at him, disapproval radiating off her, but she steps between his legs. She forces him to look up at her. Don't move. I don't have anesthesia. She pierces the skin. Di-hyun hisses sharp intake of breath, his muscles seizing, but he doesn't pull away. You think you're strong because you have guards? Look at this house. It isn't a fortress, Di-hyun. It's a target. And tonight, you almost let your son die because of your pride. I do what I must to protect him. You're not protecting him. You're a lightning rod. You stand tall and challenge the sky, and then you act surprised when the lightning strikes the people standing next to you. Di-hyun looks up. She is elbows deep in his blood, hurting him to heal him. He reaches out, his hand gripping her wrist. His skin is burning hot, hers is cool. Then teach me. Maya stops. The air in the small room suddenly becomes heavy, charged with electricity. Teach me how to stop the storm, because I don't know how to do anything but fight. They are inches apart. The smell of copper blood and expensive cologne mixes. Maya's breath hitches. Her gaze drops to his lips, then back to his eyes. The killer and the healer. Di-hyun leans in. Maya doesn't pull back. They spring apart violently. Min-jun stands in the doorway, clutching a teddy bear, eyes wide with terror. The bad man, he's still on the rug. Maya rips off her bloody gloves and rushes to the boy, scooping him up before he can see more. She looks back at Di-hyun over her shoulder. The moment is broken, but the dynamic has shifted forever. They aren't boss and employee anymore. They are partners. The sun is rising, but the mood is funereal. Jae-iwoo stands by the desk, holding a tablet with shaking hands. Maya stands by the window, her face pale. The Vipers sent a video. They didn't take Min-jun, they couldn't get past our new security. He turns the tablet. On the screen, the runaway teen from the homeless camp, the one Maya saved from the junkie, is tied to a chair, beaten. They know you went to the slums, sir. They know Maya cares about this kid. The message is simple. Surrender the Inchinport territory by noon, or they mail the boy to us in pieces. Di-hyun stares at the screen. He adjusts the bandage on his shoulder. Inchin is worth billions. I can't trade the future of the syndicate for one street kid. It's bad math. Bad math. He's 14. His name is Leo. Maya steps away from the window. She walks up to the dragon, tears in her eyes but fire in her voice. You asked me to teach you how to stop the storm. This is it. If you let that boy die to save your money, then you are exactly who I thought you were. And no amount of grilled cheese sandwiches will change that. Di-hyun looks at her. He sees the disappointment. He realizes that if he lets the boy die, he loses Maya. And if he loses Maya, he loses his son. He stands up. He opens his gun safe. He takes out 2 heavy pistols and loads them. Jaiwoo, stand down the men. Sir, if you go alone, you won't come back. It's a trap. I know. Minjun is asleep, clutching the teddy bear. Di-hyun stands over him, watching him breathe for a long moment. He lightly touches the boy's hair. Forgive me. He turns to Maya, who is standing in the doorway. He pulls a thick, sealed envelope from his coat and presses it into her hands. Take this. It's the deed to a house in Busan, and enough cash to buy your license back 10 times over. Di-hyun, don't. If I don't call you in 1 hour, take Minjun and run. Don't look back. He walks past her, his coat billowing like a cape, marching toward his death to save a child he doesn't know, for the woman he loves. Di-hyun kneels on the concrete, one gun empty, the other jammed. He is surrounded by 20 vipers. He is bleeding, exhausted, shielding the unconscious teen, Leo, with his body. The viper boss steps forward, raising a machete. The dragon dies tonight. The warehouse walls explode inward. An armored truck rams through the metal doors. Behind it, a dozen black SUVs pour in. Jae-iwoo leaps out, flanked by the entire Geumsgang army. Di-hyun watches in shock as his men, who usually fight for money, fight with a fury he's never seen. She called us, sir. She said we don't leave family behind. Di-hyun grabs a discarded weapon and fights his way to the Viper boss. He disarms him, pinning him to the ground, gun pressed to his skull. The warehouse goes silent, waiting for the execution. Di-hyun looks at Leo, then at his shaking hand. He lowers the gun. Di-hyun. No more blood for blood. Take your men and leave Korea. If you return, I won't be a father. I'll be the dragon. Di-hyun limps onto the terrace. His coat is ruined, his face bruised. He expects silence. He expects the envelope to be gone. Instead, he sees them. Minjun is leaning against the railing, watching the sun crest over the Han River. Maya stands beside him. She didn't run. Dad. Minjun sprints across the terrace and slams into Di-hyun's legs. Di-hyun falls to his knees, hugging his son, burying his bloody face in the boy's clean hair. I'm here. Minjun pulls back. He looks at his father, then turns to look at Maya, who is smiling softly in the golden light. Dad's home, Mom. Di-hyun freezes. He looks at Maya. She doesn't correct the boy. She doesn't pull away. She walks over, reaching into her pocket. She pulls out a familiar object, a Ziploc bag containing a simple, smashed sandwich. She hands it to the most powerful man in Seoul. Take it. You look like you're starving, too. Di-hyun takes the bag. He laughs, a genuine, broken sound of joy. He sits on the expensive marble, pulls Maya down beside him, and tears open the plastic.